Hi guys, welcome back to Ryder Realty's podcast. Today I'm here with Ashley Beaudry again, and today we are going to be talking about renovating, whether you should do it before you move in or after or during the process and all of the ups and downs of that. So, Ashley, tell us a little bit about how you guys moved into your house and the renovations you're doing now.
We moved into our house in the summer of 2011. And there was no renovations really made except for the simple cosmetic painting and all that stuff. Just because I was a college student, it was our first house. We weren't that worried about it. We were just excited. Okay. So now fast forward to now, we have 3 kids, all a little older now, listening better. So we decided to start making some improvements to the house. And I guess we can all feel the same way that we felt, with COVID being in the house, you're staring at everything. Yeah. We want to do the projects and get them done. So we decided to start that actually in June last year, and we're still actually working on it too. It's our kitchen. It's been the biggest project that I've wanted to get done, because you think about it, it's the area that you're in the most.
Yeah.
So we started that in June 2020, and we started with ripping out the interior, exterior thin carpet that they put in there and putting tile down.
Oh, you had carpet in your kitchen?
Yes.
Oh, so
it was built in the
everything?
90s and they put carpet.
Oh, yeah. And then you also added a pantry to yours, right?
Yep. We built our own pantry. We built a corner one, floor to ceiling, because we didn't really have one. We just had like a taller cabinet pantry. Mm-hmm. So we built that and loving it. We don't have the upper cabinets anymore. So it covers that plus more.
Okay, so you made all of what was upper cabinets, the open shelving?
Yeah,
you went with that
we're not done yet. We have all that stuff, but yeah, we'll have open shelving on the one side of our kitchen.
Okay. So how did you cook in your kitchen with it being all renovated and everything?
Well, we didn't really cook in the kitchen last year when we did the floor. We moved everything out. We moved all the cabinets out, fridge, stove, everything was out. It was just bare. So there was no cooking. I did buy some frozen waffles and that, or cereal for the kids for breakfast. Frozen chickens too, if we did something quick, or lunch meat. Other than that, we basically ordered out, or we're at my parents' house or something and did cookouts since it was the summer and swimming and things like that. But yeah, there was no cooking.
Okay. Okay, so you had to plan ahead for how you guys were going to eat and feed your family and all of that stuff during the renovation. Mm-hmm. So what gave you the biggest motivation to actually complete the project?
Honestly, probably just like I said, sitting in the house, staring at everything. And it's been something that I've wanted done. I mean, we have lots of to-do lists for our house that we would like to get done for us, but also for in a few years when we sell. Mm-hmm. But the kitchen's been the biggest piece, because I don't know what I was thinking, but when we bought the house, we painted burnt orange. And we had dark wood cabinets and then the brown speckled carpet. I don't know what was happening in there, but it was time. And the kids were older now, because with babies, of course, you don't want to do renovations. So we waited till they were all pretty independent, and we were able to be more flexible in that way.
That makes sense. So in contrary, I did all the renovations that I wanted to do for my house before we moved in. Well, I'd say 90% of them. The kitchen and bathrooms were good. We just had to do a lot of ripping out carpet and painting. I was pregnant at the time, and I knew that if we tried to move into this house before we did any of the renovations, that we would never, ever have the motivation to actually do them. Mm-hmm. And so one of the few things that we didn't do was put closet doors in the bedrooms. And 3 years later, we still have no closet doors. So with our personalities, I'm an all or nothing person, and I knew that we had to do it up front from the beginning, or we were never ever going to come up with the motivation to actually tackle the projects that I wanted done. Mm-hmm. So the problem with, I guess, some of the pros and cons of that was we were already forking out money for our down payment and everything like that. We had to have that extra cash up front to get the carpet and all those expenses. And then we also had to time up with selling our house, that we literally timed it up where we had 2 weeks to do the renovations, and we were finishing them up Friday and moving in Saturday morning. And then our house was closing that Monday. So we had to
hustle.
Yeah, and be super organized about it and not mess around. And if we would have ran into some kind of problems during the renovations, because every project usually it doesn't go as planned.
Yeah, nothing simple.
Yeah. So that was our pros and cons of why we chose to renovate before we moved in instead of after. Speaking of projects never going as planned, did you have anything crazy come up on your kitchen project yet?
Oh my gosh, what hasn't come up on our kitchen projects? So the thing with our kitchen too is the guy that first lived there, or the builder that they hired, he was not very good with squaring things off and measuring. So technically, like, even like our kitchen floor wasn't all that leveled. So we really had to work with that with laying tile. Because I mean, it's going to be really messed up if the tile is not level. So we had that hiccup. And then with our cabinets now, so we kept our old cabinets and we just sanded the faces and painted them. And we got new hardware. So for the new hardware, the old hardware, we found out he didn't line them all up the same measurement. So they were like all off. So we had to definitely patch those old holes for the new hardware we got. And then we had to figure out where we needed to place everything and make it even, because it was not.
And match and everything else.
Yeah.
Interesting. I would have never even thought about coming across that, actually.
Yeah.
Just for reference, one of the littlest projects that we have done in our house that we're not living in now, our previous house, was changing a door that was actually an inside door and needed to be changed to an outdoor door because it was access to the garage, and we were getting a lot of cold air and losing a lot of heat through this inside door. When we put the outdoor one on, we went to open it, and the door fit perfectly in the frame, but somebody didn't level the tile right there in front of the door. And so we could only open the door like 3 feet, and then we had to reconfigure everything and change that plan. So that's another project's gone wrong. Okay, so another part that I'd like to talk about is whether you're renovating for yourself or if you're renovating for resale. So your kitchen project, did you do it for yourself, or are you doing it for resale, or a little bit of both?
A little bit of both. I mean, we hope to sell within a few years, but I guess being a realtor has definitely opened my eyes when it comes to renovating. So I know my taste might not be the same in a few years or the same as someone else's, but I definitely know it's probably going to be way better than what it was before.
Yeah.
But I definitely wanted something that I loved, since I'm in the kitchen all the time as a family of 5.
Yeah.
And I wanted more space. Like I said before, like we didn't have like a pantry. And with 5 kids, everyone knows your pantry fills up pretty quick with snacks and the quick, easy meals or whatever like that. So I definitely wanted to open it up more and give it that fresh feel. So it's nice to be in there when it wasn't feeling that way before.
Okay, that makes sense. So as realtors, like, our little advice or tidbit is, if you're doing it for yourself, do it whenever and whatever makes yourself happy. But if you are doing it solely for resale, do it closer to that time that you're going to list your house, so that the trends are up to date and not outdated, because the trends do come in and out of style so fast. And like your burnt orange, you probably thought was a great idea. What'd you say, 2011? And then, now burnt orange isn't quite in style, but your black cupboards are.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any other good points that you can think of that we can chit chat about renovating?
Not at the moment. I think like you covered it all, especially when it comes to deciding, you know, what renovations you're going to make or not. And just know too, like when you're making them for resale purposes, I would say just be mindful. Like even for us, even though this is a lot for us and not so much, you know, worried about getting money back on it, we know that's not always going to be the case. So we definitely have done a lot of it by ourselves. And we've also been like conscious of budgeting it out and making sure to find nice things at a better price.
Yeah, that makes really good sense. It's good advice.
So just curious, Katelyn, you were mentioning that you had a timeline of when the house closed and getting those projects done. What was that again?
We had, I think, like 2 weeks in between that we had to follow through with everything we wanted to do. Yeah. And actually, our carpet got delayed, and we had to move in without the upstairs carpet, which before me, the person had a lot of dogs, and my husband's allergic to dogs, and we were trying to get all of that out. So we had to move everything into the house, into like one corner, put a mattress on the floor, and we slept on the floor for like 2 or 3 days until they could come in and get our carpet, because that got delayed. And of course, like we said earlier, nothing ever goes as planned.
Yeah.
So we did have to come up with a plan B to get us out of the old house on time.
I can relate to that. When we got our house, just because we were painting everything before we moved everything in, we were painting and cleaning. We had to like live on an air mattress for probably a couple of months before we officially got everything done and moved in. But yeah, in regards to our kitchen, I think I said earlier, we started last year in June 2020 and things are still going, but we're closer to the finish line. We have basically everything in place. We have new counters coming in Monday, and that's like the biggest holdup because we're not wanting to hang up anything, like the shelves or anything, until those are put in. So once that's in, it's going to be like finishing touches. And then the last two big things we'll have to add is we got a hood to put over our range and backsplash for behind that. So. Okay,
so I have a question. You started in June. What was in your head? What was your timeline? Like, how long did you think it would take?
Honestly, I didn't really have a timeline. So the thing was, my husband was still working a lot through like when COVID came about last spring. So we were doing the floors like whenever he got home from work or using all of our weekend to do it. And so once we had that done, we brought everything back in and we just, worked with the kitchen as it was. Well, then they actually had a period of layoff. So then he's had more time open up. Yeah. So we never really had a game plan in our head of how long it was going to take us, but it's definitely moved a lot faster than I was expecting because of him being home. Now, if he was still working full time right now, it would be a whole lot different. But since he's home, we've been able to tackle it and really get it done.
Yeah, that's good then. Then it went faster than what you were expecting it to. I feel like everybody else, it usually takes longer than expected.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we are going to wrap up this episode. We appreciate you listening to us. Thank you again, Ashley, for coming out and chit-chatting. We hope that you keep coming back and listening to us. We ask you to like, subscribe, and share, and we'll hear from you on the next episode. Thanks, guys. Bye.